All right, Lawrence, well, thanks for sitting down with us. We really appreciate it. We'll get to the statement, but first we want to talk about the more recent event, actually the prior events and now the more recent events. Take me back to the summer of 2017. What happened to your parents?
My mother wrote me a note, which the police must have now, describing her walking across Whitehall Road, not Whitehall, Wolf Road, and she fell down on her face. And she had, when I saw her a week or so later, yellow and green, black and blue marks from this. And she wrote that down, and that was a situation that became a problem, because when elderly start to fall down, the time comes that they start to, beginning of the end. And my father also had cataract surgery, and he lost his vision to double vision, so he couldn't be he couldn't drive. So they were losing their independence and so forth. And my mother had a brother who had Alzheimer's, and my father had a sister who had Alzheimer's. They were both in nursing homes. My mother had a second sister who also had Alzheimer's. And they put you in a bed, they put catheters into you, they rip your teeth out to try to keep you, the whole 9 yards. So this is in the back of my mind.
So you didn't want to see them deteriorate and go through that, did you?
And I'll mention, the police know about my sister, and having to see my sister die from cancer. I was 16, she was 14, go through 9 months or so of the agony of a cancer patient.
So did you kill your parents as a mercy killing to put them out of their misery? You can be honest with us.
I know. I'll leave that for the statement that I put on your website.
The statement doesn't mention that.
I know.
Does not mention that.
Right.
I want to hear from you.
Yeah.
What did you do to your parents?
I buried them in their property.
You buried them in the backyard of that house in Albany.
Right.
At what point did they become deceased?
I need to see a calendar to sometime August 2017.
And did they die at your hand? That's the question.
Right. I'll have to leave it for that statement.
But that's not in the statement. And I think it's important for people to know what happened to your parents.
Right.
They were your parents. You loved them. They were deteriorating. What did you do?
I will.
Don't tell me you're going to leave it to the statement, because it's not in the statement. What did you do to your parents?
My goal is for the American people to recognize that there's 40 million boomers. They're all going to go through the same kind of problems. It affects all of us, and we need to widen up the law so that people can deal with these kind of problems in a humane way, in a whatever way that people can deal with. And I did my duty to my parents.
So you ended their lives.
I won't
You're saying that without actually saying that word. I want to hear you say that word. You ended their lives.
I have to
give them mercy, you're saying.
I have to plead my Fifth Amendment rights until I can disclose it with my statement there.
Did you have any concern that whatever you did was wrong?
I would never have done such a thing if I ever did it knowing it's wrong. So
you believe what you did was right. You believe taking your parents' lives was the right thing to do for their sake.
If I did it, absolutely like that.
But you did do it. You're saying to us that you did it.
There's a statement there that we'll deal with more later, if you want to know
Lawrence,
more.
I appreciate that, and we'll talk about your statement, but show me where in this statement it says that you killed your parents. It doesn't. It doesn't talk about the fate of your parents here. You keep talking about the statement answering my question, but the statement does not answer my question. It's the question people want to know. And I think they need to hear it from you.
Yes, there's a time for that.
And I think now's the time. Did you kill your parents to put them out of their misery?
My concern for their misery was paramount. It was a huge burden to have to face this coming up. This is a horrible situation.
Sure. So you alleviated that burden.
You're a good questioner. I have to protect my Fifth Amendment rights on this. until the right time.
I'm not an attorney. I'm not an officer of the law. You know, you don't have to say that to me.
Yes, but I mean, whatever I say here is going to be held against me elsewhere. Right?
Of course, but you probably answer to a higher authority anyway in the long run. So I think you can tell us what happened. Did you kill your parents together at the same time in the same place? What method did you use?
All of that, all that kind of stuff, I would answer later with that deal with the American people. But I'm not going to speak about such things like that.
But you have a chance to tell the American people right now.
I want their feedback on my statement. Then I can believe that I can tell the truth uninhibited.
You don't think you're going to get better feedback if you're honest with them? And tell us what happened?
I put things in the right order that have to be in the right order. But it's very important that insofar as exculpatory material, the police have that statement from my mother regarding what happened to her, crossing the street at Wolf Road, falling down, you know.
Right.
And she also had a problem with, she mentioned she was getting lines in her eyes for some reason. And there was no, I don't know what that would be.
That was the prelude that helped set things in motion, you're saying.
That was the...
That started your parents' downhill trend, health-wise.
Yes, but also the letter from her to me said, do something. Or this you need to know this in a way that...
Your parents asked you to kill them or to take their lives in a merciful fashion?
I think they want me to take responsibility for things.
They asked you to take their lives, to do what they couldn't do?
Implicitly, but not explicitly.
So you were just granting their wishes?
My mother, after my sister died, my mother would give me these do not resuscitate things every few months, and she wanted to die, given her grief for my sister, her daughter.
And you loved your parents and you wanted to honor their wishes?
You know, there's something special about our family that we can somehow read each other's minds, and so being things explicit isn't necessarily, you know, I could complete my grandmother's sentences for her, and she would say, "Wow," you know. So I mean, the context of all this became to bear on me.
Did one parent, did your mom or your dad more so than the other, ask you to take their lives?
They didn't explicitly say that, but they made it clear that they were going downhill.
When it actually happened, when your parents died, did they know it was happening to them?
Oh yeah.
And they knew it was at your hand?
Well, yes, no one else's.
Right. So they realized what you were doing to them as it happened.
Yes.
They knew that this was it for them, that they were perishing at your hand.
Yes. And it was so quick.
How did you do it?
Yeah, I can't talk about that.
Well, you've just told us that
Right.
it was at your hand.
Right.
Were there drugs involved?
No,
was
no.
there a suffocation? You suffocated them? You suffocated your parents?
Yeah.
That was the best way to take their lives, through suffocation.
Basically.
Which parent did you suffocate first?
My father, and after he died, my mother put her head on his chest, and she was there for a few hours, and then I finished her.
And then what did you do? Did you bury them immediately?
No. I didn't know what to do after that. I was thinking what to do. It took me several days to realize I can't do this, I can't do that. Just bury them on the property, and it was wide open, sunlight. I remember my sister, she received either a gift of a lamb or a lamb was given to her upon her funeral, but that lamb showed up, and I put it on my mother's grave, and the police must have that now too.
You call it a grave? You bury them in the backyard, you see it as a grave?
Well, I bury them, and I put a thing around my mother's grave, and and I planted a peach tree next to her, and I put that there.
What did you think as you were doing it? As you were taking their lives? What was going through your head?
Not thoughts, action. Make sure it's done, and not fool around, not make a mistake. But, I'm sure the police are going to say, what an incompetent idiot I am on that. But,
Did they both pass away peacefully? Did they struggle as you did it?
I would say the last minute, no. But they're, I think my father died very quickly, surprisingly quickly. That shocked me. And then, the part with my mother, went quickly too.
Did you realize what you were doing, as righteous as you may have thought it was illegal, and
Oh yeah.
you knew you were breaking the law? You knew you were...
Well, that's what I'm saying. We have to squeeze the law to fit the humans, not us, the humans to fit the law. And we have 40 million boomers. They're all going to suffer a horrible death, typically. My mother always if somebody died in their home, she would say, great, the person died with their boots on, instead of going to a hospital and going through a meat processing factory kind of thing. So they were both children of World War II. My mother was born in 42. She was a toddler. She told me she would follow funerals behind the horse and wagon. This is the kind of world she grew up in. My father was at age 12 in a communist concentration camp for 3 years. So they had very serious lives, given the globe, the genocidal British geopolitics, as I call it. And so they were not fooling around on things. They were serious people.
When you were doing this, did you think about the financial ramifications, the fact that you would continue to take their government money?
Once that happens, then what do? The government is pissed because I took the Social Security money and gave it to people who were starving in the Philippines. Okay then, be angry about that. But the police know all the money that I have went to people to help them, thousands of dollars. I gave almost, not all of it away because there was still a lot left. But I gave away, I didn't play with the money, I gave it away. I didn't enrich myself.
Does that justify what you did?
No, but this is not a kill for money case, is important to say. It's, I was helping people before that just fine, so it didn't, the issue of taking my parents' money for other purposes related to that doesn't fit. That's why the police, they had a theory going which we talked about on Tuesday, and they wanted to try to say that this was taking their money to give away to other people, but it was that the other part is the primary situation.
Some would call that blood money.
Right, and I was giving it away.
But it's still blood money.
Well, if you kill to take somebody's money away, that's blood money. But if what was I supposed to do with this money? Again, I couldn't tell anyone. The government needs to have an office where you can say, this is something that happened, and here's how it happens, and they need to deal with these kind of problems in an open way. Everything in this country is hidden away, and this is a societal crisis. Again, 40 million people are going to deal with this, and maybe a multiple of that given their friends and family. So it's a reality of human experience, and I just wanted to say, in 2020, there was this YouTube channel called Tribe of the Fox, and they did a video called The Mannerbunde. And they explained how in the ancient times, they had men who would do this for the elderly so they wouldn't have to suffer. And of course, the ancient Greeks always believed in dying on the battlefield rather than dying, in a bag of bones, like a bag of bones. So, I mean, culturally, America is totally.
They didn't die on a battlefield, though. It sounds like they died in their beds with a pillow over their faces.
No, but you could put it that way.
I mean, it wasn't a battlefield.
Well, right. It's not. I mean, the preference of people of the ancient Greeks was to die on a battlefield rather than die so infirm that you have nothing.
Was it a pillow that you used?
No.
What did you use to suffocate them?
For my father, my hand. And for my mother, a rope.
So you strangled her?
Yeah, that would seem better.
It was strangulation, not suffocation?
Well, it's the same. No, denial of oxygen.
Okay.
But also blood circulation.
So you cut off the oxygen to both of them. That was your method?
Yeah.
Okay. Now that this has come to light and the police started investigating, and do you have any regrets?
I did the right thing for them based on the situation. I did my duty to them as a son. And that's everything fell into place. I don't know how it happened that it all fell into place, but it did. And so no, I don't have. It's a horrible situation to be in. One does one's duty and one is done. The issue of regrets, I can't say this. It's a regrettable experience, a regrettable situation. And of course, life is horrible. It has horrible moments in life. But that's that.
I just want to make sure I have it correct, because I'm a journalist and facts are important. You used your a single hand to kill your father?
Right.
Putting it over his nose, and you choked him. Okay. And you did the same with your mother, but with a rope. You choked her with a rope.
No. Just a rope.
Right. I'm sorry, but I meant you choked her with a rope, though, instead of your hand.
Right.
Okay. Are you on any medications today?
No. Well, no.
Nothing?
Nothing.
Is your mind clear and...
I'm just a little sleepy, but I'm trying to keep my eyes open, but that's okay.
Okay, but you have no mental disabilities that are affecting what you're saying here today?
Correct.
You're confident in what you said and clear of
Yeah.
mind as
Yeah.
you say all this?
Yeah.
Okay.
I would appreciate. I hope that you could put this on YouTube, the whole thing.
I'm sure we'll put this on. And are you ready to face the consequences now with the police and the authorities?
Yes, but I would like the American people to also read my statement so that everybody can have something to appeal to on this. I know my statement is I'm not really concerned about the police or the courts or anything. There's something much bigger in life, and we have to deal with the big things in life.
Okay. But again, just to be certain, in 2017, you took your father's life.
Correct.
And then moments later, or a short time later, you took your mother's life on that same day.
Right. No, well, see, that's the thing. It was late at night, and it was like late evening on one day into early morning next.
Okay. So within hours of each other.
Right.
What did you do between the taking of your father's life and the taking of your mother's life?
I'm trying to remember, because there was, yeah, I don't remember.
Did you sit with your mother? Were the three of you together in one
Well,
room?
before they died, my father was here, my mother was here, and I told them what happened to me and my sister after she died. And my sister died in the house too, because when she died from the cancer. But she died in May of 1988, and then in that fall I was doing my 11th grade now then, and there was I had to do a paper in a big test, so I did an overnighter to do that test, and then tried to do a second overnighter to finish that paper or something, and I crawled into bed at like 2:45 in the morning, And sometime then after, I popped out of my body. And I started floating up to the ceiling. I saw the nooks and crannies, and I acknowledged that the nooks and crannies of the ceiling, and then the whole world disappeared. And I was in this big black void, and it was rushing by, and then I saw my sister in a doorway, in profile. Anyhow, after that, so it was like a near-death experience kind of thing. And so I told my parents about that experience. And I told them, it's time, go find Rosa. My sister's name was Rosa. And so my father just died quickly, so quickly. And I told him, find Rosa. And, that's that.
And then again, just take me through, after your mother died, how long was it before you buried them? Approximately.
2 or 3 days, actually.
So your parents' deceased bodies were in your house with you for 2 or 3 days.
Right.
And then you decided you had to do something to cover up your crimes, or to properly bury them and send them on their way?
Right. I mean, I needed to, basically, I had to bury them.
Was the burial to cover up your crime? You didn't want to be found out.
Right, of course. I mean, what to do? So again, the thing to do just occurred to me. Oh, she can fit here and he can fit there, and then just do it. And it was done. And that's that.
Have you lived with fear of being found out all these years?
I struggle to do other things with my life to try to make something great out of it. Because if that's what I know, that they would not want me to rot away to death in prison over this. And I have a duty to everyone to make the best out of my life, and in the end, do what's best for the people of Germany, really. I call it being a Vogue saver. It took me years to understand all this, but I learned a lot in the last eight years that I never knew before, and I learned, self-educated in so many ways. So I did not. The issue of being caught is. I was able to buy time to solve huge problems, and that's worth it in many ways. To the American people, to me, and to them, to their legacy, to their,
Do you think people are going to accept this rationale?
They probably won't.
And feel for you?
What they need to feel is for their own parents. They're going to face the same problems, and they're going to have to find solutions ahead of time, or else they're going to end up like me. That's the reality.
Are you telling other people that when their parents start ailing, they should take their lives?
They have a duty to their parents to bring them comfort at the end of life when they believe they need to.
But again, just to be clear, you took both your parents' lives.
Yes.
And you realize that you're probably going to face the criminal consequences.
Oh, of course.
I mean, you're probably going to be arrested and charged. And
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure they're going to. It's a process. You have to go through the process. How it will come out at the end, I don't know. But to influence that process, I would beg the American people to read that statement.
All right. Lawrence, thank you for being with us.
Oh, I appreciate it very much. Thank you.
Thank you for seeing us again, Lawrence. Since you told me yesterday that you killed your parents, do you feel a sense of relief today about that?
Not any extra relief. No, not at all.
The world knows what happened now? That doesn't...
I mean, that does help, I think. I'm glad that people know about my statement. That's important to me.
But I think people out there care about your parents and what happened to them.
Yes.
Can we just go through that again very quickly? That night that you decided to take their lives, did you know that day, the day before, when did you know that was the time to do this?
My father laid back and was ready. He knew. I just want to say a message that there's a legal defense type of thing, and then there's a political defense. And the most important law in this country is New York State ratification law, which says that the people have the power to reassume the powers of government whensoever it is necessary to their happiness. And one of my goals was to create a board of trustees for New York State. And to create that initial trustee, someone needs to know what to do. So I'm making the claim that I'm the initial trustee of the New York State Board of Trustees, and they would have prosecutorial immunity. And so I appeal to that as having prosecutorial immunity for this case.
It's pretty much a certainty that's not going to happen. You also talked about wanting to be tried under German law.
Well, ancient German law, yes.
Is that still something you're looking for?
I would ask for it. There's nothing wrong with asking. I mean, you never know if you'll get a yes. You can get a yes. And this country is unstable right now. You don't know what could break up. I do think the country should break up into pieces to make it better for everyone. Even the Washington Post suggested that.
The court of public opinion seems to say that they're not happy with what they heard from you yesterday, that they think it was a cold-blooded crime. Do you understand people thinking that way?
I'm glad you gave me that feedback. We all are getting old. We're all going to need help, and we're all going to have to decide how to deal with these kinds of problems. And with 40 million boomers getting into that stage of life, they need their options open, and their families need their options open.
But who are you to decide, other than being their son? But is that decision up to you? Can you play God?
You can do your duty to your parents as they give you feedback, information, etc. And so it's really not a decision of God. It's whether it's a matter of what kind of lives are you trying to give your parents under grave circumstances that will be coming. If somebody falls and then ends up in the hospital, they're in like a machine that will just process them along, and you will have no way to recapture control, to get control of your own life again.
But they weren't in a hospital. They weren't hooked up to a machine. Their lifeline was you, and you snuffed out their lives.
You have to understand that the end was coming, and the world starts to go. You have to decide when your time is up.
But did they decide, or did you decide?
They were giving me hints to this effect.
And a hint's enough to go and decide to take a life?
It was information like a plea that this is the beginning of the end for them.
Well, it was the end for them because you made it the end for them.
Okay, I'll have to keep. I think, but I want to make sure.
What can you tell us about your parents? What kind of people were they? Your mother and your father?
My father was more. What my mother said: do whatever you want as long as you do good in school. And so I sort of measured myself as, is what I'm doing good for school or not? And usually that kept me on track to being doing good in school. And my father was not so much important. Sometimes he would say, "Oh, you don't have to take that test." Or,
were you not as close with your father?
I was close with them in different ways. But I wouldn't say that I was not as close with my father. I always felt closer to my father, I think.
Why did you decide to kill your father first?
Yeah, I can't talk about that. I'll listen to that advice of the lawyer.
After you took their lives, it's been 8 years. What have you been doing in those 8 years?
Trying to make good on their lives by trying to I tried to start a vogue saver philosophy, which never existed before. And I think it's very important to civilization, to try to start a new civilization, to recultivate the German people, because after World War II, they were totally wiped out culturally by the United States. Everything was destroyed, and then they were basically Americanized. But I understood that the essence of German culture is folk teleology, which is a philosophical term.
Don't you think your parents might have rather continued to live as opposed to you helping German culture?
My parents always believed in doing their duty. My mother always said, I do this out of duty to you. It's not as concerned with love and life as you might think it is.
Was it a loving relationship you had with your parents?
Not in a loving, I wouldn't characterize it as loving the way you might say it in America. It was harsh.
It was harsh.
Oh yeah, as a kid, it was very harsh.
So was any of the decision to take their lives in retribution for that?
No.
That the fact that you had a harsh upbringing?
No.
We're done.
Okay. Sorry.
Go ahead.
Sorry.
You're done.
All right, thank you.